We were in New York. My father was a farmer salesman, sold parts for farmers' equipment.
Yeah.
We moved a lot. When I was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 or something, we moved to New York. And we came back when I was like 12 or 13 when she left my father. And we came back here because her mother and father was here. She split us all up. We were with different families. There was a couple with this one, couple with that one, couple with that one. But I stayed with a friend of mine for a few months. My sisters stayed with my grandmother. And my mother got a house on South Main Street. We lived there for a couple of years and had a fire, the house burnt, and we moved to a place on Hatbridge Street. And then she got that government loan. We built a house on that dead-end street there on Oakland Avenue. Oh yeah, she had a lot of friends, for sure. She was a good person, and I remember getting that free food at the town hall. We used to get them big cubes of cheese and canned meat or whatever. I know we went to that, but that's the only thing that I know. She had a wagon and sleds and dragged 9 kids with her.
Interesting.
Couldn't leave anybody alone. We were all too young, whatever.
Yeah. Remember
Oh,
anything
I'm sure
about
of
that?
it, yeah. Yeah, we ate a lot of pasta, that's for sure. We were Italian, so we liked it anyways. We didn't complain. I never remember going hungry. Never remember that. The only times that happened to me when I was drunk and stupid, and it was my own fault. I remember coming here. Half of us were with my mother, half of them went with my aunt. Our car broke down on the border, and I remember we stayed in the hotel until somebody else came and got us.
Oh.
I think it was her sister, I think. My aunt came and got us. Yeah, I remember me and my brother swimming in the pool in our underwear, but we were only 10 years old or whatever. And we didn't have no place to go. She didn't know where she was going. She was just getting away from the situation.
Yeah.
My father was a drunk and it wasn't good. Put up with it for a long time, and she was pregnant all the time, so it's hard to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I've had quite a few houses in different places.
Mm-hmm.
I never, ever changed my address or my driver's license or my insurance company. I've been married a couple times, had different houses. I had a house in Florida, I had a house in Gardner, I built whatever, and I never ever once changed my driver's license. So on the record, I only ever moved once in my life, from my mother's house to my house.
Interesting.
So if they look me up, they're gonna see I never ever moved. Probably because I didn't think I was ever gonna always stay there. And I didn't wanna, I don't know, I just never changed. I've had Kimball Cook, my insurance company, forever. Everywhere I ever went, that's what I had. And I've never switched. Yeah, I had a house in Florida. I was there a year. I had a house in Gardner. I was there like 4 years, whatever. And I never ever change it. It was Tyrone near Clearwater. I got married and we just wanted to go do something and had a little money. I worked hard and made pretty good money. I had quite a few apartment houses for a while. I was partners with 3 other guys. Did that for a few years and got out because it was such a hassle. There was 4 of us. We were all just equal partners. When I sold my house in Gardner, I gave them a few thousand for 25% of it. And they had like 4 or 5 apartment houses. We ended up with, I forget, I think like 11. We had like 48 units all at once. And it was overwhelming because I was the maintenance guy. I built it for my first wife. We lived there a few years and that didn't work, so I sold the house. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I lived there for like a year after. Never paid the mortgage, never paid the taxes, didn't have electricity. And I kind of messed up because I had all brand new washer, dryer, stove, refrigerator, everything in there. My mother needed a refrigerator, so I gave her my stove and refrigerator. My neighbor was my sister-in-law with 3 boys. She needed a washer and dryer, so I gave them to her. And then when I sold the house, they took like, I don't know, I think $7,000 off of $40,000. So I'm like, oh, I guess can't do nothing about that. I'm not going to fight because that's what they gave you. I had to get out. And I didn't get out until they paid me, and I don't think that's ever been done. I got all my money before I moved.
Oh,
That was a trick. That's just the only way I said I would do it. And I was there over a year trying to do that. They tried to kick me out several times. I'm like, good luck with that. I'm not going anywhere. I lived there with no electricity for over a year. Had an artesian well out back, and I built a shower on a barrel up on a tripod. And I lived there for a year, just with nothing, just no electricity, no nothing. Didn't work really. I just partied. Well, I've been a carpenter most of my life, so it was pretty simple. I just cut some trees and made a tripod, put a big barrel up there, filled it with water, just had a hose come into a shower head, put bricks on the ground and threw a tarp around it. It was just warm. You could take a lot of showers out of a 55-gallon drum. I'd say it probably got dirty. I probably had 2 or 3 kerosene lamps, but it was good. It was good. It was a brand new house. It was a split entry ranch, 2 bedrooms upstairs and 2 downstairs. But I built a chimney, put in a wood stove and ran it, and that was that. Yeah. I bred German Shepherds and Irish Setters, and I had a lot of chickens. But it didn't work because they all ended up breeding by accident with something else, and I was pretty bummed out about that. I put a lot of money into them and ended up giving them away because they ended up being interbred. Because it takes a lot of time. When you got animals like that, you got to be there all the time. And if you're not, helter-skelter's going to break loose. No, I didn't have nothing then. I just had money. Bought a motorcycle and raised hell for a little while, and ran into a schoolmate I had them apartments, and he needed some money and offered me 25% for, I don't remember, $7,000 or something like that I gave him. Back in the day, though, we were buying houses for $20,000, $30,000. 2, 3, 4. Some of them had 6 apartments in them. Rents were $100, $150. So now what is it? $1,000, $2,000. It's unreal. I owned that 3-decker right here across from the Chinese restaurant, across from the post office. That 3-decker.
Yes, right on Main
I
Street.
lived there for 3, 4 years. That was when I was getting out of the apartments. I took that house and let them have the rest, or whatever. And then I bought a piece of land I got now when I was getting divorced for the 2nd time. I didn't tell my wife. I bought that piece of land I got now, and I just started moving everything over there. And then she got wind of it, and I said, here you go, whatever. But I took care of her. I feel it's all good. We got no problems. I had both were nice, clean divorces. Everybody was happy. Yeah, didn't have no kids, so I just had to split what we had. I don't even think I had a lawyer either time because we were understanding. Not nowadays. People get divorced and they're fighting for your shoes, for crying out. I'm like, come on. I don't care. Just give me my clothes and some tools and I'm out of here. You know, you could build another house easy. I almost wrecked that house in Gardner. I built, and I'm like, ain't nobody getting it if I don't get it. But I cooled out and sold it, and I was happy because we both made money. It's time to move on. I don't think about it. It's just like because I've always lived here, so I come back here, back to where my family was or whatever, because you know people. It's like I've been to quite a few other places, and it takes you a while to get established. One winter I took off in an old beat-up truck, and I ended up in Louisiana swamp. I stayed there all winter, and I could have stayed there too because everything was for free. There's no money there, and nobody cared, and everything was for free. Unbelievable. But that was no good. You don't get nothing. You don't have nothing. There's nothing there. You know, it was just poor, 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 poor people. I was just running away from problems I had up here. I had an old beat-up truck, and I had like $180, and I had too many girlfriends, and they were all mad at me, and I just said, I'm going out of here for a while, and I had an old beat-up truck. I was in the thought I was going to go to the Mississippi River and get on a barge like Huckleberry Finn. I was going to go down to New Orleans. And I'm glad that they didn't let me do that. I drove down there, an hour later, I was in there. And I'm like, holy cow. I lived in my truck all winter. I built a camper on the back of an old beat-up truck, and I pulled in a campground on the bayou, and they let me stay there for free. I was there like 3 months. It was an old Ford F-100 beat-up pickup truck. Built a homemade bed on the back and built plywood sides, and I lived in it. The only way to know what you're going to do is what you want to do. I didn't want to have to take care of somebody. And I can take care of myself just fine. I just, you know, I'm all set with that. I don't want to take care of nobody. I had a few issues just before that. I got in a fight with a guy in a bar right here, and he burnt my house down. I didn't have no insurance. I just wanted to get out too. I had a few other issues, whatever. So I didn't know where I was going. I was just going to go adventure. And I didn't care what happened. If I lost everything, I would have just left it and hitchhiked back. Whatever. I've hitchhiked home quite a few times that didn't matter. I didn't have to answer to anybody. But the problem I had when I was down there, I was living with a guy uptown after my house burnt. Sent him a postcard, and he told one of my girlfriends, and she was coming down there to try to find me. And as soon as I got wind of that, I just left and I went to Florida. I was there for a while, whatever, and then took me a month to come home. I stopped in Virginia. I stopped a bunch of places just to hang out for a while. Didn't have no money. I don't think I ever had more than $200 on me at all, ever that whole time. Didn't have a checkbook or ATM card or anything, but I didn't care. Didn't need nothing. Everything down there was for free. I'm a Yankee. I went in there the first night. I cleaned up the yard all around. He told me I could stay there for a week, and in that week I did a couple things. He said I could stay there as long as I want. Never had to pay rent ever. They fed me. It was unbelievable. That was one of my best times because I was just fishing, eating crawfish like crazy. I was catching crawfish in them onion bag sacks, 20-pound sacks. You could trade them for anything you wanted. A carton of cigarettes, a tank of gas, bags of groceries, whatever you want. And that's how I did pretty good on them for a month or so. I was there through Mardi Gras. That was an amazing thing for a month or two. And then I finally got a job, mud and sheetrock. I'm pretty good at it. And I think I got $40 a day or something. But they're fat and lazy. They don't go to work till 9 o'clock, and they come home by 3 o'clock. One job I had, took my truck apart, so I had to bed, and I worked for a farmer the day. He says, I can't pay you. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? He gave me a truckload of cabbage and turnips, and I went back to the campground and gave them to everybody. And I made a few friends over that because they didn't have no money. They were living in campers that are trailers that are condemned around here. They wouldn't, you know. I was going with another girl in Gill, and it was Thanksgiving Day when I left. She gave me a whole turkey cooked. I ate that for 2 or 3 days and just wanted to get away and see something different in the world. I went to this fair, and they had this oil that was like $20 a quart, where they put that oil in your motor, and then they take the oil out and run the motor. I don't know if you've ever seen that on TV. The motor keeps running, keeps running, keeps running.
Yes.
Well, my motor was junk, and I put that oil in there. I put in 3 quarts or 4 quarts. Truck ran beautiful. I made it all the way back home, and I ran that for another year back here when I got back, and I never thought I'd make it back with that truck. It was amazing. I don't remember what it was called. Motor mechanic or something. It was at one of the fairs they had. Motors were running with no oil in them all day long. Didn't hurt them at all. It was in Louisiana somewhere. I had that piece of land I bought already.
Right. Okay.
My mother's house was only 8, 10 houses up the street. My grandmother's was only 4 or 5 houses down the road. And I grew up here. I went to school here with them. I knew everybody. I didn't do a lot. I didn't care. I just did mostly construction, built a lot of houses. It was early 80s. Yeah. I think I bought it in 80 or 81. My first permit was probably 82 or 83. I had one girlfriend paid for my foundation. I had another one that paid for the lumber for the first floor. And I just worked and I'd put in, after my house burnt, I lived in a shack for 12 years on the property. And they pulled me out of there several times, tried to put me in a nut house, and I'm like, ain't happening. I live with my mother, it's right up the street. I still got that address, never changed it. And when I got mine, they didn't want me to have it at all. And through the post office, I found out what my address would be. So I put in a mailbox, put their numbers on it, my name on it, and I started mailing myself. I had my mother and my sisters mail me letters. And I've got it. I never applied, never asked them, never did anything, and I got away with it. I built a house with no permit. Got away with it. Finished. Done. I had so much trouble with the building inspector, it was unbelievable. And I got away with it. You can't do that nowadays. I don't know if you can even look back in the records, but I got my nephew a job with a friend of mine who was an electrician. Ended up being master electrician. So they signed that off. I was building houses for Peter Gary on Lake Runner, and the plumber there came and put my plumbing in on a weekend, no permit. Finally, when I had to get the inspector, he was a temporary plumbing inspector. He didn't even remember it. And I reminded him, and he signed it right off. So plumbing was good, electrical was good, and construction was good. I worked for a guy, built a few houses, and he was a temporary building inspector while the other one was out with a knee injury or something. He came over to the house, just stepped inside the door. I told him this, that. He signed it, and that's how I got away with it. And then none of it, it's all good, because it's all good now, and I've been there 25 years or something, and it's all good. It's just like an A-frame, almost, and it's one room. I lived in a cellar for like 8 years or something, and then I just lived in that shack and saved $100 a week or whatever toward lumber. And when I had enough to frame it, I did. And the permit was only good for the cellar hole. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got everything. Town water and sewer. I put it all in myself. They came and inspected everything with a guarantee that they would maintain it up to the house. Now they changed it, so I got to maintain it from the road. My driveway's like 150 feet long. So they changed the rules, but it's nothing wrong with it. It was all brand new. It all passed. I did everything they said I had to have, the right pipes and everything. Dug the trench myself, put the pipes in all myself. It's not done yet. I'm 70. I don't even care. I just putter on it, and whatever happens, happens, and I just work on it a little bit at a time. It's not done. There's not a window in my house. I only got one door. But oh well, you know what I mean? I do have the other door. I'll probably put it in this summer. I got porches built on both sides, and it looks like there's another door in there, but there ain't. And it's mostly shingles, so there's not really, it's a hard spot to put a window unless you build a dormer, and that's another, back then $500, now $5,000 if you want to, Prices of stuff is just unbelievable. I did the trapping for the town for the mostly beavers for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of issues. I was big mouth. And most of them, they told me just to shut up and get out and don't do that. And whatever happens with the town, if there's a conflict, they just pay the bill. They don't want no advertisement. I don't care who it is. If you go in a pothole and you break your ball joint, they'll buy you a new ball joint so you don't take them to court. I saw many things where people just scammed them, and the town said, we don't want no issues. We don't want no bad advertisement. Just pay them and get it over with. And it's political. I worked with Tom Colo, several things. Known him all my life. I liked him. He was a good man. He busted them with so many things. One time, town hall, they bought all new computers for everybody, and they all took them home. Tom's like, what is that? You can't do that. And he made them bring them all back, and they got mad at him. He was kicked out of half of their meetings probably because he just wanted to know where everything went. He was the most honest guy I think I've ever known. No, I did that on
That
my
was
own.
something that you did yourself?
Just take a test to see if, so you know how to do it, so you don't get hurt, because it's pretty dangerous, and it's all in the swamp. And I went and got my own jobs. I did most of the towns around here for quite a few years. Mostly I did beavers.
Okay.
And anything, really. I could do whatever I wanted. I could shoot anything, anytime. If I thought it was a bad animal, just kill it. I had to kill everything. I had a problem animal control license. I can't go around shooting bears or anything like that, but, I'd had nothing to do with none of them. I've been blamed for it, but I've never done that, Shot many raccoons and whatever. I was supposed to, but when I dragged some beavers in the town hall, they didn't want to see them no more. Who was it in charge? Phil Legear was a Board of Health, and Doug Walsh was the head of DPW, which I was good with both of them, always. I wasn't good with most of them, but those guys I was. And their secretaries I was good with. They helped me out a lot of times, told me this, that, or the other thing so I could do this, that, the other, and everybody else, oh, yeah, he's going to be up here and give us trouble, whatever. I just wanted the right thing. One time I did that because they questioned how many beavers I got. And I told them. They didn't believe me. They paid me. Sometimes it took a month, whatever. And then another time I was doing it, and they said, well, how do you know this, that, and the other thing? I said, well, I got 3 up there or something, and they questioned it. So I dragged them right into town hall. These are the 3 I got today. They never asked me for that again, ever, never, ever. It was, Phil Legear stopped me
Okay.
when I got to his door. But it was all good. He was fine. I think Phil was a very honest person. No, I don't do that no more. Well, actually, I got a woodchuck day before yesterday for a guy, but I didn't charge him nothing. It was a classmate of mine, lives right down the street from me, and I've gotten a lot of rats, but I don't charge nobody no more. and that way I can't get in any trouble. Half of them, I just leave them with pellet guns or something and tell them shoot them and throw them in the bushes. Next day, they're gone. Had a lot of trouble dumping beavers different times. I built a rack on the back of my truck one time, and I had them in the traps, hanging on the poles on the rack, driving around town. Boy, they didn't like that at all. Even the cops said, "You can't do that." I said, "Look it up. Of course I can." Just to advertise, just to be a smart ass, because they said I couldn't, you know. Well, that was a day's catch. What are you going to do with it? They said I had to bury them 4 feet, put lime on them, and cover them with rocks. I never, ever, never once did that. Never. Tony Briganti busted me one time for dumping beavers, and then we laughed about it after. Whatever. You can't, you know, it's nature. You got to feed nature too.
Sure.
You know, we just threw them out in the woods, or half of the time I just shot them and left them where I shot them. Marked it down. Here's another one. I'd say Lake Ellis, I've probably got 400 or 500 beavers out of there in 15 years. Some years I got almost 100, a couple of years in a row, out of just Lake Ellis. And I got busted many times for busting beaver dams without a permit. But every time I got off, because that's what I was doing, you know? You gotta get special permit for everything, and I'm not one to go through the process. I would do it and then get told no. I would never ask permission if I wasn't sure. I would just do what I think is the thing. And if it's wrong, first offense, they never do nothing anyways. On anything, they don't do nothing first offense. I got busted from Phillipston Board of Health, where the old reservoir was uptown, where they drained it a few years ago. I did that. I got all the fish. I had them trapped in a big hole. I mean, tons of fish. I filled the back of a truck with coolers full of live fish. I went down to town hall, and I'm gonna give them to everybody. I got in more trouble over there. The game warden took my license, everything. I'm like, son of a bitch, I shouldn't have did that. Oh, he made me go dump them back in and then open the cages, because I put fences around everything to trap them, because I was cleaning the culvert pipe, and it's a big one. It's like a 6-foot around pipe. It was clogged solid. I spent like a month cleaning it. And then Phillipston Board of Health was in charge, because they had a contract with Athol. It was Phillipston land, Athol used it, whatever. So there was another one growing up in the back. I went up there, shot the beaver. I'm not gonna spend 3 days trapping them. I see him, bang, it's over. And I wanted to get him out of there because I knew the Board of Health lady was coming to inspect it from Phillipston. She went down the wrong way, and I'm up on top of the hill, so I hollered at her, told her how to get up and in there. In the meantime, I busted that dam out so the beaver would come to me so I could get it out of there. Oh, when she came, she was so upset, it was crazy. I probably shot it 30 times in the head just practicing while I was waiting for them. They took me to court, and Phil Laguerre had to go to court with me, with Doug, and they ended up dropping the charges because they told them that I was working for them, this, that, whatever, but they wanted to, I forget, they wanted $20,000 or $30,000 fine or something. I'm like, good luck with that. You ain't never getting a nickel out of me. I probably made $75 for doing it. You know, they didn't pay much. I was charging $40, $50 a beaver. At the end, I don't think I was charging $100 or $90 or something. Call somebody now, it's $1,000. Call somebody to take a beaver out for you. Guarantee you it'll be $1,000. I've had different people call different ones to see what their rates are, so I knew how to do it. But I already had it going with them, so I couldn't jack it up that much. But I was happy with it. I don't care. I was out in the swamp, and nobody bothered me. I did whatever I wanted. I've had my canoes stolen a couple times when I left them out there too long or whatever. I mostly used a .22 and a pellet gun. And one time the game warden gave me hell because they wanted me to use a shotgun because I was in a canoe. And .22 can ricochet. I've had the stadies put guns to me several times at Lake Ellis because I'm on the bridge with a rifle aiming at the high school. But everything worked out every time. I never had an issue. Never got arrested because I had a license. They don't know the law. I told them, hey, you don't know the law. I know the law. I'm telling you what it is. Here it is. And every time, then they made me start going up to the state police barracks every time I went up there, so they knew I was going to be there. So the cops going by, when people going by, hey, guys up there on the bridge with a rifle, you know, and they come right in. I retired about 8 years ago. And it was till I was 62, I believe, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were doing it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I got a pile of canoes, I got a pile of rowboats, I got too many. And I had one, David Flint, did a lot on it. I had a Sawyer racing canoe, was 18.6 or something, and he wouldn't let me in because they wouldn't pay me if I won. So I went home and took a Sawzall and cut about a foot off the back of the canoe. And he was so mad because I wrecked the canoe. I'm like, I never won. I gained canoes a lot of times. Went swimming quite a few times. Ran people over. I've been run over, you know, but it's all good. Went in with a guy with a cast. Went in with my sister-in-law. I went in with my nephews. I went in. One time I went in just because the guy's partner didn't show up. I didn't even know him. I just jumped in his boat and went. You know, it was just all in good fun, whatever. Don't matter. I would if somebody wanted to. I got a bunch of canoes. I've loaned them out to many people to go in. Don't matter. I don't care. I've done it more than most of them. When they used to give you a case of beer when you got in, it was Schaefer. Everybody went in, got a case of beer.
Interesting.
And then Budweiser took it over. And then they had to riot at the Armory, and they said, no more beer. Can't have it. I wasn't there, but I'm sure that it was all stadies and all, you know, people drinking. And that's what it was. If people, most every time I get in trouble or in a fight or arrested, most every time it's because I was drinking. You have a few shots and you think you're Superman. You know, it's just the way it is. I haven't drank in 15 years, so I'm pretty good. And it's dangerous. You're drinking, it's dangerous life. Yeah, and you don't have nothing. It's like a drug addict. They don't care if they got a couple $100, they're gonna go get high. They don't care about tomorrow. I've seen a lot of people I know OD'd. I've helped a lot of them, and most of them come back and ask for more. Come back and ask for more. If you're not there, they rob you. So I'm pretty much done with that. I see people bumming. I don't help them no more, at all. No, get a job. I'll beat you up first. And I don't care what their problem is. It's their own fault. If they don't go home and clean up, and most of them cry homeless, most of them have a place they can go. They don't want to abide by the rules. They don't want to clean up their act. And I've seen that many, 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 many times. Half the guys I went to school with are dead. And most of them are just, it was stupid, you know? Not because of old age.